Hi, this is John Burek with PC Mag. Welcome to One Cool Thing, where we show off some hot new hardware from around the net. We're reporting from CES, or rather Digital CES, and I'm here with Clifford Chun, who's a product marketing director with MSI. Cliff, can you tell us a little bit about the new Summit Flip laptop that you have in front of you? Is this the first two-in-one that MSI has produced?
Yeah, in fact, this one is the first one that we haven't been doing at least for the past decades. So this is our brand new Summit E13 Flip. As you know, MSI have been doing quite a bit on the business laptop for a while, and a lot of customers have been asking us for a few things that we have never been offered for years. For example, touchscreen and two-in-one options. So as you can see in here, hence the name Flip, we are able to do this as 2-in-1 flip. So when you flip over, the keyboard itself is pretty much muted on it. And in here, you'll be able to do a full touchscreen options at the here. And the screen in here is a 16:10, 100% sRGB panel. So, and then also we will still keep the webcam up on the top, because a lot of people on this kind of flip devices, the webcam is on the bottom, which, you know, what MSI really don't want is a nostril cam built into the device like this.
Understood. So I notice clinging to the left side of the laptop, my left, there's a pen. Is that correct?
Yep. So in this unit, it will comes with a pen and a sleeve bag for it to carry around. So with this pen, this is a much different pen. So the number one coolest things is instead of using a battery, this one is a rechargeable. You can use a USB-C rechargeable pen. Alongside there is a light indicator telling you how long the battery life is. So if the time is almost low and stuff like that, it will flash red, which will still give you roughly about 5 minutes to go charge your pen. And also it will have different features. For example, one click in here, it will goes to OneDrive. Double click in here, it will goes into Whiteboard. Alongside the bottom, it will also have different kind of features that you can do, for example, erasers and stuff. And also the tip itself, this one is a tilt enable. So it's all based on how much pressure you goes in here and stuff like that. Alongside there's a hoovering function on top of it too. And the best things is basically when you put it right here, it will not block anything out. So it won't point out, and it will not block out any of the ports that is in here. And while we're talking about the ports, those are because it's 11 generations CPU. So this one do have Thunderbolt 4 built in or ready to go.
I get it. So you mentioned 11th gen CPU. So this is relying presumably on integrated Iris graphics?
Yeah, this one is the Iris Xe graphic in there because we want to provide a little bit better performance per se for the customers on this thing.
Got it. Okay, so this is a Intel Tiger Lake Core i7, I assume, or i5?
We do have i5 and i7 options. At launch, we will be shipping i7 first. Okay. And then also, as you can see, this one's a white versions, but we do have another one, which is a black version. So the white one will come with the white and silver trimming, while the black one is a black with the gold trimming, and the pen will go as a black also for the black ones.
Right. So in you mentioned about the pen. The pen charging is via USB-C, or is it some sort of like inductive charging when it's clinging to the laptop?
It's a USB-C okay. Because we want to keep it clean. And basically the whole unit is using a CNC design, so it feels very, very sturdy. Even the pen, we're using a CNC design just so that it have a much better feel when you're holding it.
Got it. So when you're charging it, is there a connector directly on the pen, or is it a connector cable?
It's a connected cable. And then you can use any of most of the phones right now is a USB-C chargers. So you can use that as well if you want to, but it's also come with a USB-C cables.
Got it. So in terms of a screen on that, screen size was 13 as evidenced by the name, right?
Yep. It's a 13.4, 16:10 screen. And it is 100% sRGB IPS panel.
Got it. Yeah, 16:10. We're seeing that a lot, especially in a lot of new machines here at CES. A lot of vendors seem to be going the 3:2 or 16:10 route. Mm-hmm. Can you speak to why MSI chose to go 16:10?
One of the reasons when we're looking at business users, because gamers usually like the 16:9 ratios and stuff like that. For business users, they want that little extra room on the bottom, just so that they can, read a little bit more. And the whole keyboard layout and the whole device layout, we think that the 16:10 for business users is the way to go down the road. So slowly and surely, when we revamp the rest of our series of our Submit, Prestige, or Modern series down the road, we're also studying to go the 16:10 route.
Right. I also assume that means redesigning that entire chassis to accommodate the screen, which is slightly taller, right?
Yeah, definitely. So that's something that we always try to do. Like every single year, we try to fix or improve things that our end users like or don't like, and we listen to what they ask for, and that's what we do to continue adding in all the features that customers want into our units.
Very good. So what's the availability expectation on this one? Is it available immediately or soon?
So this one will be available early February. It will be ready to pre-order by most likely this week or next week, and then we will be able to be shipping to the end users sometimes early February.
Got it. And do you have any idea of like what a base model would cost, a Core i5 base model?
The Core i5 base model will be somewhere around 1200-ish, and then goes all the way up to the 1800 range. The 1800 range is a 32 gig, 1 terabyte i7, that kind of configurations.
Okay, so you're positioning this, in other words, to sort of play in the premium 2-in-1 space up against things like the XPS 13 2-in-1 or one of the Spectre X360s from HP. That's sort of
this is definitely one of the premium units that we're designing on.
Got it. Very cool. Well, we're looking forward to actually seeing that in person soon. We will certainly have a review of it as soon as MSI is able to provide us a sample of it. We'd love to check it out. So any other closing comments on the summit?
No, this one, there's also a lot of security features that we do over in here. For example, like vPro, remote controls and stuff like that for the IT management. Alongside one of the coolest features that I forgot to talk about is the noise cancellation. It's the noise cancellations, not only canceling your sound, and with the MSI center, you will be able to noise cancellation the other side. There's a lot of different conference calls that I have when they have kids in the background. I can barely hear what they do. With this unit, you will be able to noise cancellation the other side. That way you will hear clearly.
Got it. Yeah, that's very important these days. I run into that all the time with myself and my colleagues, dogs, cats, children, everything, happening around, police sirens, so that's very important these days. Oh, actually, the webcam itself, what's the situation with the webcam? Do you know?
This one is a IR HD type camera.
Okay.
Yeah, but then the little bit difference on this one is also have the ambient light sensor alongside with a noise cancellation webcam. So even it is a IR non-full HD type, but with the enhancement of the noise cancellation cam, we will be able to make it feels like a full HD.
Got it. Well, very cool. Well, thank you, Cliff, for the overview of the Summit E13 Flip, which is MSI's first 2-in-1 for many years. We're looking forward to checking it out on PCMag.com. I thank you for the presentation, and thank you for watching One Cool Thing. Thanks very much, folks. See you next time.